What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction Videos comp,
Blue Tube Man,
as well as
Butts.
from horrorharbor.tumblr.com. Today's film is
Dream Home, 2010. Thea, 10.
Not to be confused with Dreamhouse.
Not to be confused with Dream House. No, this is true.
Only assholes watch Dream
Completely
House.
different movie.
So, Dream Home 2010. Why do lay a yo to?
Oh, I knew you were going to do that.
That's
He's
how you
such
say
a
it.
jerk.
Directed by Ho-Cheung Pang. Written by Ho-Cheung Pang. Starring Josie Ho. Ching Wang. You can't make these names up. Cheng Li Shong is a young, upwardly mobile professional finally ready to invest in her first home, but when the deal falls through, she is forced to keep her dream alive, even if it means keeping her would-be neighbors dead. So,
Whoa, keeping them dead because they're not dead. They're trying to get to be alive again.
Sophia, why'd you pick this movie?
I picked this movie because I'd heard about it a lot. I think actually, Alex, you probably told me about it.
This? Okay.
I feel like.
Are you the picker of the movie?
Thea is.
I think I picked this movie way back when.
Way back when? Okay.
You know, female. We were picking a bunch of female serial killers because I myself am apparently a female serial killer. So there you go.
What are you smoking? What are you talking about? When did we pick all movies of female serial killers?
Well, she has chosen a lot of them.
You chose what's it called? Sunchoke too for that reason, did you not?
No. Okay, very good. Sure, if it feeds your
whatever.
ego.
I think
pick this movie we watched.
Thea's trying to find any justification.
Somebody supports a march, and all of a sudden, female. Just kidding. Okay, so no, I actually.
Who's representing them?
Yes, true. I saw this film actually in around 2011, not 2010, but I had seen this movie, and I was actually going to try to review this movie a long time ago with Danny, but Danny's racist, so I decided to leave it alone.
True.
We had to whittle him down.
I was very pleased that Thea went into it. What were you looking specifically for female? No, you said you were looking for female serial killer films. What stood out about this one? Is it that there's not that many female serial killer movies, or?
We got Angela Baker. I mean, come on.
I don't know. This one seemed I'd heard about this one a lot, just like people enjoying it, and I don't know. It was kind of an interesting twist on it, where it's like you're killing people literally to like get a home, I guess, to get your ideal apartment.
It's very depressing.
Maybe that's the approach I'm going to take.
So Theo,
it fell in line with depressing movies we've been reviewing. Like this movie is.
It's mostly Asian films that are very depressing. Mostly Korean, but China's really going for it with this one. So Theo, can you give us a little bit of info about this story?
So this story is, they tell it sort of in flashbacks and in present, but you start with, the first scene is a sort of masked or like you don't see the face of the serial killer, but this person comes in on the guard to a apartment complex and mercilessly kills him.
What an asshole.
In a pretty nasty way.
Fucking nasty way.
How does she kill this person? All right, yeah, zip ties.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I've ever seen a zip tie used to that effect in a horror film.
And that was really
good.
Pretty cool. That was really good effects with the razor on the neck.
Yeah, obviously
like that's exactly
him trying to saw at it. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it wasn't like super graphic when she was just basically suffocating him with a zip tie, but he decided to try to cut the zip tie with his razor, and that's the part to me that got really grotesque because I can't.
Why couldn't he have gone from the back end?
No, what I wonder is why didn't he try to put his finger underneath the zip tie, bring it forward? But that's I guess it's.
Well, maybe it was too. It might have been too tight because she pulled it pretty tight.
Do you think that the zip tie took away his good sense?
It was taking the oxygen.
It was probably cutting off circulation to his brain.
But
he needs that. I thought all men think with their penises, aren't I right?
That was me giving you a high five, Danny. But
boy, okay.
And this is Danny having sex with girls. Anyway, I gotta say that violence is pretty. I mean, the graphic violence in this film is really disturbing, and I
don't shy away.
No,
it was good. Ooh, especially the scene where he's fucking the girl and the knife was coming out of his chest with every pump. That was great.
I like to compare this film to French extreme horror. I don't know if you guys got that vibe as well. I think Danny
Yeah, a
would
little
have gotten
bit.
it
Yeah.
because I think it's like a female protagonist.
Reminded me of Inside a little bit, actually.
Yeah, a lot of that, or even Martyrs, but yeah, Inside is very good. Not Martyrs.
Where you don't where you
conceptually,
don't cut
but-
away from the violence very much, where it's just like you are looking at it direct on, and,
And
nothing
especially-
else
There's
is
no shying
distracting.
away. That is
Especially,
for
it's
sure.
not shy to kill some of the probably victims that you wouldn't expect to see in a horror film, like a pregnant woman and stuff like that. And I think why it should go up there. This is like a Category 3, I guess, type film. Because I've spoken to Danny about this before. Category
What does that
3.
mean?
Is that like on the
Category?
Richter
I
scale?
might
What does
have
that mean?
Yeah, wait, do you have like a
this-
scale?
I explained this 5 times to Danny before, but since he wants to be funny.
I don't
Well,
listen
not
when
me.
I don't listen when you
Okay,
talk.
so
Anyway, the audience
in
needs to know.
China-
What is
okay.
Category 3?
So here's the thing. I assume this is a Hong Kong film just because of how graphic and
It
violent
is.
it
It is, yeah.
Okay, so like I did in 4 other episodes, but Danny doesn't listen. Hong Kong is a little bit separated from China mainland because in China and mainland you can't. There's specific things you cannot put in film. Like you can't even put ghosts in film because it's anti.
Yeah, you
whatever.
told me that. You told me that.
It's anti-establishment to put ghosts because you would fool people, I guess, to believe that there's ghosts in China. But you can't put extreme violence, you can't put extreme gore, stuff like that. It's pretty tough.
Strict?
Their censorship.
What
on film,
about
right?
extreme penis?
So, no, I don't think. Do they have penises? So, in
China doesn't have penises.
category-
I think Hong Kong has penises.
Hong
Right.
Kong, since it's a little bit separate from mainland China, it's a little bit more easier with their films. But Category 3 is like R-rated or NC-17 type of film. Not heavily pornographic, but they do a lot of sex film and a lot of extreme violence in their movies. So movies like Story of Ricky, that's like a Category 3 film. Anything that's like really sleazy or like the English people call video nasties, that kind of thing. I don't know whether...
Okay.
So that's the kind of film this is, and that's like a French extreme horror. Those would be considered Category 3 if they were made in China. So that's why I like to consider this film almost like a French New Wave horror film because it has such graphic violence in it. Very Western graphic violence as well as French graphic violence. And I think that is probably the strongest suit about the film. I don't think it's necessarily a bad film. I like the film. And I like that it tried something different with it. What were your initial thoughts when you're watching the beginning of this film, Thea?
Well, what I like about it is that you get a lot of character motivation.
Okay.
I think one of the things that I didn't like, I know I'm relating this back to a movie we recently reviewed, but Sunchoke, was that you don't really understand
Right.
the main character who is sort of crazy.
I think you understand her better in Sunchoke,
This,
though.
well,
What are you
I don't
talking
know. I
about?
think I understood this character more, not necessarily in a way of like I would do this thing, but I understood
Sure.
her.
There's
sort of
motive in this
well,
film.
you never know.
Yeah, there's actual motive in
They
this
give her a
film.
lot of motive, almost too much for me because I think the flashbacks are almost excessive.
They're really depressing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty dark.
So,
Like, what the fuck?
in a nutshell, the film is about Josie Ho. By the way, Josie Ho is, if you've looked up, she's a very attractive young lady. I think she's in her early 30s. She's actually is going to inherit billions of dollars because in
Why?
real life, because her father is Stanley Ho. I believe he's a film producer in China.
Okay.
She's very rich. She's super hot. And the thing is also, Danny, you know what?
And she's a serial killer.
Danny, you want to hear something cool about Josie Ho that you might make you like her or might make you like her
You've
more
already
or less?
sold me on the rich and hot. What else?
She's half Chinese, half Jewish.
Oh my lord.
She's the perfect woman.
You know what? That's great because she can make all the Chinese food for herself.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, we've already got to this place
No,
early in the
that's-
episode.
no, that's
We're only
like
9 minutes in.
no, but
Danny's
Jews and Chinese food. I mean, that's a thing.
Danny's-
At least in New York.
Danny, state your ethnicity just so we don't get in trouble.
I am Jewish.
Stayed it.
Now get off my podcast since you said that. Anyway,
Yeah,
no,
no, you're
but
right.
yes, that's a Christmas joke. So so Josie Ho is gonna be. I think she might be a billionaire by now. Anyway, she produced this film, which is a good thing because
A billionaire.
Danny. Here's another thing you might love Josie Ho for. Apparently,
What?
she was watching with her husband Story of Ricky and said,
Oh,
"We
she
should."
has a husband. That just
Deal
turned me
breaker.
off.
Okay, not
completely.
that
I'm
part.
not
Okay,
into
so
threesomes.
this part's good.
Get
With
into
the
it.
girl. Anyway, so with this one, she said she was watching Story of Ricky and said, "Why can't we make a movie like that? Is that not
Ooh.
is that not a dream woman? A woman
It
that
is. I'm gonna kill her husband. I'm gonna
Oh,
make
no.
her make me Chinese food, and we're gonna,
And then you're going to
we're
kill a bunch of people
celebrate.
to get your dream home.
We're gonna get our dream home, and we're gonna celebrate the Sabbath.
Josie Ho is a dream woman. If you actually watch her on YouTube, you can actually see her. She speaks fluent English. She's gorgeous.
Ooh.
Oh, she's so hot. Anyway, what was this movie
boy.
about? So,
I don't know.
here's the nutshell of what the storyline is. Josie Ho's character, what is that name? Oh God, that name. Cheng. I'm gonna call her Cheng. Although it might be
right.
Lang Sheng, whatever.
Make it up.
So Cheng is either any name I make up was gonna sound racist anyway. So Cheng.
It is Chang.
Cheng Li Sheng is a young girl who. This is a film that's very much about strong arming people that are very poor. Like the film is about
Capitalism.
right. Like Hong Kong was actually used to be controlled by England. So when China was like, "Give us Hong Kong back, give us Hong Kong back," England would be like, "Go fuck yourself." England finally left in the 90s, I believe. So Hong Kong is sort of by itself, but China, the mainland,
So
is
everyone
sort of...
there speaks English. They speak Chinese with an English accent.
So anyway, this film is about those people, these poor people, essentially being bullied by triad members and people that own those buildings because they were like, we want to raise the rent for people, because you people have been living here for so long, but now that we got control of this area, we can make people pay
And
more.
now that land is valuable to us and we can make money off of it,
So essentially,
get the fuck out.
Yeah, so essentially the film flashes back and forth between past and present, like Thea said. And as a child, they had some like gang members actually, which I thought was probably the most sufficient way to kill people is by putting snakes in their house. Her child.
I didn't quite understand that. Okay.
So
that's
her
what that was.
childhood neighbor,
Trying to chase him out.
her friend who used to do paper, cup.
Yeah, but what
cup
if they
telephone.
were like, parcel tongue or something,
I know. Then they would have.
and could speak to the snakes and tell the snakes, no, don't attack me.
Well, then they would have
attack the
fucking
gang
lived there
members."
still. But they didn't.
Wouldn't they have been living with 3 overweight relatives?
Maybe
with
the
a mustache?
Ministry of Magic made them move.
Living under the fucking staircase and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, her friends got killed. She saw how horrible this environment was, and I think it was her father's dream to.
Her grand.
Her
Was it her
grandfa-
father or grand? I think it was her
Both.
grandfather.
Okay, her grand-
Well,
Both.
both, I guess.
It was their dream to actually live.
and she failed both of them. She is a failure.
Because they were fishermen, they wanted to live near the sea, and she's kept hard to this dream. And I guess this has made her into a complete psychopath because everything else is. She still has a brother.
I wonder whatever happened to her friend she was talking to in the cup.
He's
the asshole
he's
one.
the one that the snakes killed. They killed her.
Oh, he
they
does
killed her
die.
neighbors.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So anyway, she grows up, and the film takes place around the financial boom of China when a lot of property rates were going lower, and she decides to put all this money into this one location. What happens, we find out, is that everybody's offering money for this apartment that's facing the sea, and unfortunately, the people that were selling it to her were like, "We want more money. We want to go with somebody else, or we want
What
just more money."
scum.
And she decides to go on a killing spree to lower the property value, and that's
Why
essentially
couldn't she kill the owners of the apartment?
because then they would make it a
'Cause
crime
then they can't
scene
sell it
and
to
she
her.
can't have the apartment.
But they
And-
can't be alive.
She
to sell
gotta
it to
she
her
gotta
shit.
freak them out.
Right. That's what she's doing. Essentially, this film, when you speak about it like this, where it's a person trying to lower property values, it sort of takes away.
Sure, but you only need to kill one group of people. You don't need to kill 11 people.
She went insane, I guess. She just wanted to make it.
But the
look
point
really
is,
bad.
like, people won't buy
Just like a
property in a
woman.
place that, like,
She
there
gets
are
so
so
emotional.
many deaths there recently, right? And I don't
Holy
think the people
Christ.
that are selling it are living there at the time that they're selling it.
Yeah.
Danny, did you happen to go to the Life March, or was that?
Well, actually, I was working, but I was watching it from the window.
Not,
and it was,
not the
I
Women's
was
March. I'm talking about the Life
100%
March.
supportive.
The Life March, nice. We're kidding. So, what were aspects that you think worked for this film, Danny?
I love the part where she makes me Chinese food and gives me lots of money.
Boy, going back to that joke really worked.
Massages his dick.
So, what?
Oh, no. Okay. I really like the extreme violence. I thought the violence was very good.
Was there?
I
Usually
like the
I'm not-
improvised weapons.
Was there a favorite
What
kill that
happened?
you enjoyed the most?
I really like the pregnant bag over the head vacuum suction thing. And you know what's funny is, like, I think right as I was watching that, I was trying to find vacuum seal bags for my luggage. And
Oh, how clever.
And no, but like for real, I really was like, and like,
And it was like any bag can be a vacuum seal bag.
I was asking people if they had them and stuff, and then that happened, and it's like, Huh, wow. I should get a pregnant woman and pack her in my luggage.
What did you guys think of? What did you guys think of the directorial work of this guy, this director? Because I thought it was actually a pretty clean cut film. I think it was Ho-Chung Pang. He did a. There's a lot of films that I mean, a lot of imagery like the tilt shift method. That tilt shift is essentially every time we saw a wide shot of buildings and stuff, they looked like toys. And tilt shift is a form of lensing an image so it looks like everything's very small and very toyish. And
Why do they do that?
I don't know. I think. What do you guys have any ideas of why they would do that for this film? Because I think it made everything look really interesting, but I think it was supposed to make it look like everything was like property, like everything was like you can just own it. And it
Monopoly.
Well, I mean, the way she's sort of like picturing this perfect place for her to live, this perfect place that would have been her grandfather's dream and would have been her family's dream if she could have afforded it. It's kind of like it's a dollhouse kind of thing where it's like you create this image of your perfect place to live, but it's just beyond your actual grasp. For most of the movie, anyway.
Is there any
Well,
man?
it's too late anyway, though, because everybody that she was getting the place for, she failed, and they're dead.
Yeah, I mean, she essentially. I think it becomes a personal goal midway through the film when she decides to kill her father off, because she's. I think this is just more of a selfish thing where her father let her down. I think her grandfather probably is the only one that didn't let her down. Her grandfather and her mother, because those are the only two people that died. Maybe her brother either, because she didn't fuck around with her brother. But everybody else kind of let her down in the film. She's having a relationship with a married guy who's like a real piece of garbage, and but much like him, I like to make on dates. I make jokes about Korean men beating their women. What the fuck is that about?
Yeah, that was a fucking weird story.
And maybe that's.
I was like, what are we supposed to get from this?
I'll tell you this. I have a theory that I think Asians hate each other, but I would not like to say that out loud. I actually dated a Japanese girl, and you couldn't say the word Korean around her because she would be offended if people thought she was Korean. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah, she was sort of an asshole. But what's funny is that the boyfriend didn't get any comeuppance for himself. It's that sort of film where you're like, oh, you're expecting her to kill him by the end of the film, and I misremembered it. I thought maybe she kills him at the end, but she doesn't. And
well, she can't because that'll incriminate her, right?
Right. She's a smart serial killer, but she's a little bit extreme. Thea, what were your thoughts?
Well, she's not really good at it though. She gets hurt.
She
like 20
bumbles
times,
a lot.
Yeah, she
which
does.
I actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Thea, what are your thoughts about this serial killer of the film? Her motivations, her method. Do you think she was sort of a good serial killer on film as an interesting sort of antagonist?
Well, I think it's interesting because, like, obviously she's just so obsessed that there's nothing else for her, really. Like, she could have just moved somewhere else and it wouldn't have been an issue, but whatever. But I like the fact that she's a bumbling serial killer. She kind of, like, accidentally gets into these situations and accidentally succeeds without really doing it on purpose. Like, I really liked that when the two cops come to the door. And,
that was good, yeah.
And one of them accidentally shoots the other cop, and then the other one accidentally shoots one of the victims, and she just sort of succeeds by accident, which was kind of fun. I thought that was a cool twist on, like, she's not professional. She's definitely not a professional serial killer.
There was, like, weird shit, like, the guy took a hit of a joint while his guts were coming out and goes, "It went out." Like, what?
There was
it's
some
like not
funny,
a funny
like,
movie,
silly,
but then there's just
there
like
were
that.
silly moments, which I kind of liked because you needed a little bit of that levity to, like, sort of give you a break.
Yeah, but it just seemed kind of weird. Like, it reminded me of a
weird.
scene in Sin City where he's walking around with an arrow through his head, like, ow, there's an arrow in my head, and then he dies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out because I believe how long was the version that you guys saw? Was it like an hour and 30 or something? Because I could have sworn
something like that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw a longer version with a different cut of this film, and I don't know.
Look at him!
Okay.
He's got the exclusive.
No, because you know the guy
extended cut.
You know the guy that gets disemboweled near the DJ set, the high guy. I could have sworn I remember an image of his head on top of a spinning turntable. And I don't know why.
Might have been a different movie.
Well, there is a turntable, though.
Right, and
There
I
is.
remember his head on the turntable spinning, but I guess I
Do you
could have
think
just
that was a
misremembered
sexual
it.
fantasy you imagined?
Maybe it was. You know, sometimes those guys' haircuts.
That's what he's into.
Danny, what did you think about this female serial killer? Do you like that it was a woman doing all this? Are
I
there any
always
movies
appreciate a good female serial killer,
Ha-
and I did like that she was fumbling because it shows the, the stupidity of women. They're not very
Oh
good
my
at things.
God.
boy.
No, I liked it. She was cool. I liked her. I feel like this whole movie was like.
I'm not too far to come and punch you in the junk.
You know what? I don't have any junk. Okay.
Okay.
What are
How about that? No, I liked.
Yeah, did your mother call them special treasures?
I bury them. I tuck them. I like that this whole movie is kind of a statement about the evils of capitalism, and it will drive people crazy.
whose genitals were sliced off in this film? Because it says 30 seconds were cut off, were the slicing off of genitals. Whose genitals were cut off in this?
I think it was the guy having sex.
Yeah, she cuts
Because I
off his
think-
fingers and his
because-
dick.
Okay.
Because I think that's what she splatters the girl with.
No, you didn't see
No,
that.
she
scene?
stabs him through the chest,
I
and
don't
his
remember.
blood sprays on her back. So
She
Oh, never
throws.
mind.
She throws the penis at her. You see it
Oh.
like bloody. You didn't see that?
I don't
Oh no,
remember.
I do remember that kind of.
And
Yeah.
I
okay.
do love that she thinks that's a total money shot on her back. The girl who gets the girl who,
That was funny,
The
yeah.
girl who eventually
She's
stabs.
like, wow, that's a lot.
She shoves a piece of wood in her mouth. I think the violence is really fucking good. Like I think it's very
It's
good for this
crazy.
type. Of
Yeah, the
film.
girl with the wood in her mouth was a great scene when she's walking around with it.
Yeah.
What
Oh man.
What do you guys think the big picture of this film was? What do you think it was trying to say?
I really do think it was a statement about the evils of capitalism.
And how it'll push somebody to do literally anything to get what they need and want.
And was
Breaking Bad, this movie.
I think somebody was pointing out at the end that because I sort of got confused. I'm not a scholarly guy, if you guys can't
All
guess. But
No, you don't say.
at the very end of the film, when she's looking, I guess there's a whole statement about her bed. This place that she's dreaming about the whole time. She tries to fit her bed in the room, and it doesn't fit. And then she looks across
Because
to
she
this.
can't fit her life into it.
Right, she looks across this other building that's across next to the sea, and she's looking at this other place. And all of a sudden, we start hearing a report about financial crisis in the U.S., which would affect globally. So, essentially, we're seeing that she
So
did
it's like
this all for
she
nothing.
gets it as soon as the global recession hits or whatever.
So, would that are they trying to imply that the prices would jack up even more living in that area? or?
I don't remember how it affected housing at that point
Okay.
because
I
was
think it means
too
it was
young.
a bad investment for her.
Oh, okay. So eventually, because I'm
Or
always
something.
with these types of films, I'm always wondering what the comeuppance is for the bad guy.
I mean,
so
that
to
was a
speak.
lot of money though, because honestly, I looked it up. Like, I converted the thing, and it was like $500,000, even with the amount knocked off for the murders, which is a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna make
It's more
that
than
as
I'm
a-
ever going to be able to afford.
You're not making that as a telemarketer, that's for certain.
Did you guys have a
Yeah.
favorite kill in the film?
No, mine was the pregnant one. I think.
And Thea?
I think I liked the improvised wood from the bed weapon the best.
That
because,
was cool.
Because of the, like, her walking out with it in her mouth was impressive. I
Yeah.
did not expect that. I did not expect that to happen.
I
It was
did.
cool. It looked like she was eating the biggest piece of cheese.
I did. Yeah, I think I did like the zip tie one because to me that was the most effective. I can't stand like arteries getting slashed and stuff like that. Like that. bothers
And
me
you're
the
and you're
worst.
literally just looking at it for like
Yeah,
5
for a
minutes
very
of
long
him
time.
trying to chop at
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I was cringing. I was kind of like
I
covering
know.
my eye like halfway.
'Cause
And
it's
that's
what-
the first like 5 minutes.
It's gross because it's one of those first cuts, you know, where no blood comes out the first time you're basically cutting into the fat. The first two cuts, and then the
Yeah.
rest of it was just that horrible.
It
spray
takes
of
a
blood.
second for your body to like send the signal to like shoot the blood out.
Were there any negative aspects of this film that you guys? I don't think you guys sound really impressed about the film,
It's
but
it got
I
a
liked
little
it a
too-
lot.
Okay.
But
Oh yeah, you go first.
I just too many flashbacks for me. I think they were effective in showing like how sort of shitty her situation was. But I think you could have gotten it across in like half of those flashbacks.
And you think I think what happens is that it was a storyline was that her essentially killing people because it was a one night thing where she killed all these people, and they wanted to stretch that whole shit out, and that essentially could have been the last half hour of the film after this whole flashback thing. But I mean, do you think it would have worked if they told us linearly or?
Yeah, no, that was my complaint. Is like first it took me a little bit of time to figure out that those were flashbacks. I was kind of confused.
They told you the time every time.
No, I know. No, but it took me like...
It came up on the screen.
How is this
I
little
know.
girl gonna meet the main character? Huh?
No, I know, but I just didn't like get that it was like her at first. Like I was just getting confused for like the first. Shut up. I was a little confused for like the first 20 minutes or so, and then like once I realized, but then it was just like the flashbacks had such a totally different vibe from everything else in the movie, like which is like the biggest sin in my mind of a horror movie that like or any movie that like tries to mix genres and does it not good. So it'll be like a horror movie, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's like a depressing drama that's not
It was, yeah.
part of a horror movie again. Like, that's weird. Like those.
But I don't think it would have been effective, though, if you had just shown it, like, her backstory and then the killing spree, because you wouldn't have... I feel like that's the hook, is, like, the killing spree, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, yeah.
So if you were doing it all linear, then you would have tuned out the first 15 minutes, because you would have been like, what is this weird drama, sad backstory that I did not tune in for?
Chinese films tend to do that. They put like super melodramatic stuff in it, and you can hear like the score. Always these scores.
It just didn't go with the
films always
feel.
have that wacky violins and shit. Like everything's super melodramatic. And also, I think it was an excuse for her to kill neighbors that she didn't want. Essentially, if she lived there as well.
I mean,
so
it seems
worked
like she had
out.
some really shitty neighbors too. I mean, they're putting
Took care of that.
coke in a passed out girl's
But
nose.
who's going to buy in now?
I'm glad. Well, I don't know. She could control it.
I guess if you lower the price for it, other shitty people might want to move in there as well. So
She should have lowered it a lot more. She should have gone for like a third of the
it
price.
becomes like a tenement. So I think it works for the type of film that it is. And one more thing, do you guys think that what other like prominent serial killer female movies are there? Because I mean, like
Angela, Sleepaway Camp.
okay, but I mean that's a trans killer. That's not a. Well, I guess you could call that a female serial killer, right?
No,
She's
becomes
identifying as a
female.
woman?
Like
She
forced
has-
trans.
She gets initially, but she gets it changed eventually.
Yes.
Second movie.
Sleepaway Camp. That's if you see your father making out with another man, it makes you want to kill people. It's an insane film.
Yeah, well, that's
Right.
the first, and then a boat lands on him.
And plus, and at least the thing is like, there's no like sexual assault that spurs this on in the film. Not that I can
Thank
remember.
God.
Which is
Oh,
a
what's
good
that
thing.
one?
I
Hot
Spit on Your
tension.
Grave?
Well,
High Tension.
high tension.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's funny because then they really make the feel like she doesn't come off as like biologically insane. I think she just becomes super super aggressive
She has
about
bad
wanting to get something.
circumstances.
Yeah, that's what it is.
She
And then that sort of like gets piled on top of like denial after just like fucked up situation, and she's just like, I feel like the obsession is not totally believable for most people, but they do try and hit it home.
Okay.
She has nothing left in this world except this house staring at water.
I'll see it on my phone next time.
So
that's all.
with that, Danny, what rating would you give this movie?
I'm gonna give this movie I'll give it an 8. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll give it a 7.5. I give it
a 2.
I'm gonna give it, a 3. Like, it
Fuck
was
this movie.
7.5. But she is a Jewish.
Wait,
Seven
be careful
and
on how you say
three-quarters.
that. I mean, you say that in a positive way,
7
right?
and 3.
She is a Jewish.
No,
Okay,
it's all
very good.
positive. 7 3/4 out of 10. Cutting off someone's fingers and penis and stabbing them through the chest multiple times so that they cum
Oy
blood
vey.
onto the
That was
back
actually
of a prostitute.
Thea, what rating would you give this film?
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Stepping on your housekeeper's eyeball as you walk in the front door.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. That eyeball effect was much better than the one in. Did you guys ever see Midnight Meat Train?
Oh,
yeah,
that's Clive
that was
Barker.
so. All of the CGI in that movie is bad. So
Oh,
bad.
Danny, that is one movie you got to see. I would also give this movie a 7 out of 10. Slaughtering a bunch of people, but politely just leaving your boyfriend in the nicest way possible of him in his car with his boner.
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, I don't know.
What
With
a
that,
dick.
Thea, what's the final word?
Blurg.
Danny, what's the final word?
Chunky kitty litter.
The horror deconstruction.